Zack Arias. I'm an editorial photographer out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I am at Luminance 2012. I was never a comfortable person, a confident person, and the camera kind of became this magic box that allowed me through doors and into people's lives.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Zack. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I am an editorial photographer, and PhotoShelter had me come up here today because of a Pulitzer I recently, it was my work at the Olympic, the cover of the, I have 46,000 followers on Twitter, so they'd hope I'd fill some seats. I'm going to talk today about social media, and I want to talk about how we look at social media, because I get asked a lot, Zack, how do I get more followers? How do I get more likes on my Facebook page? How do I get more comments? And I watch people on Twitter, saying, oh, I'm almost to 1,000 likes on my Facebook page. Come on, guys, help me get to 1,000 likes. And I'm like, oh, are you going to get a trophy? When you get to 1,000 likes, you don't get a check from Facebook, And then I'll see someone, they'll say, oh, no, I lost 3 followers yesterday on Twitter. I wonder what happened. Well, asshole, you just lost another. Because here's what I think about social media and how we look at it, all right? There's you, right? All right, so there's you. Let me get used to this thing. And we've got, Bill off over here. And we look at Bill and we go, wow, Bill's got, X number of followers. I hate the terms followers. I'm so glad that Facebook finally changed from fan page, because I didn't like that. It's so narcissistic and ego feeling, the social media. I love social media. I love interacting. I love being online. I love, getting to be, part of an audience and get to talk to people and all of that. But we look at it like this. So we have Bill and go, wow, look at all of Bill's followers, and look at me, like I have 1 follower. And the story of why I got on Twitter was my wife got on Twitter, and this guy Carlos started following her. And then I'm like, who's this guy Carlos? I'm getting on Twitter, right? So that's why I'm on Twitter. I had 1 follower, and that was my wife. And then Carlos followed me, and I'm like, and now Carlos is a friend of ours. But, so we look at social media in this very me-centric, how many followers do I have? How many fans? How many likes? And it's becoming this very me, ego. And we're artists. And there's definitely a part of our ego that we wear on our sleeve. There's me. This is my work. This is what I do, and I hope you like it, and if you don't, I want to die, we have to self-promote. We hear lots of things about self-promotion, and so I have to get out there and put on my happy face, and hey, I'm Zack Arias, and hey, just finished this campaign for blah, 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 and just did this thing, and just did that, and me. And I kind of don't like it. So there's this weird dance that we do, all right? So there's you, and what you're hoping to do is to start drawing people into you, right? You want to draw people in and for your business, for an organization that you're running, for a cause that you believe in. You're wanting to draw people in. You have a message, you have a product, you have a thing, you've got rent to pay and kids to feed, and you need people paying attention to what you're doing. You're putting something out into the world, and you want people to see it, and we look at it this way. But the problem I have is it almost starts to look like an attack, right? Like all these people coming in, and it's difficult. People look at me and go, wow, you have 46,000 followers on Twitter. Like, that's awesome. And it's, yeah, but I'm getting hit with thousands of people all the time, like, hey, Zack, what do you think of this? And hey, Zack, can I ask you a question? And hey, Zack, can you do this and this and this and this and this and this? And sometimes it can kind of feel that way, all right? So when we start to pull back from social media, we start to see these, big names or organizations and all of their followers, and you can connect dots like these kind of people, they kind of follow several different people, so, it's not just I follow you, but someone else is following you, and someone else is following you, and you follow them, and so there is this kind of connection between these centers, right? But it kind of becomes this us versus them, right? It's me and my followers, and, I'm king from my phone, kind of, come to me, people, and let me sell you something. And I just don't like it, because it's like an attack, and it's almost like cancer to me. I almost look at it, when we look at social media like this, with us here in the middle, and the people that we're drawing in around us, it feels like I'm a scientist looking through a microscope at cancer happening, all right? So I want to move away from this kind of idea to this kind of idea, all right? You're a seedling, all right? So you come to me and say, Zach, I want to build my presence. I want to, get more followers. I want to, have more likes, things like that. And my answer to you is don't be about the numbers. How many numbers of people and what your stats are is not the goal, all right? If you're about the numbers, and if you're like, I'm trying to get more followers, you're I think, looking at it the wrong way. I want to try to give you a different way of looking at social media, at how you interact on social media, how you act online. All right, so here you are this seedling, all right? You have 10 followers, you have, 100 followers, you have 1,000, and I don't really honestly care that if I have 40,000 followers or 400,000 followers, right? It's helped me out, and it allows me to some interesting opportunities and things like that in my life, but that number does not matter to me. What matters to me is that if anyone listens to me, if it's one person, if it's 10,000 people, that I have something to share. I have something that if you're going to listen to me, I hope I can help you out. All right? I hope that whatever I've gone through in my life, I can say something and it's going to help you in your life, and you're going to go and help someone else, right? So you are this seedling, and what you feed this with is your story. All right? Now, I, as a professional photographer, I could come up here today and I could say, hey, I'm Zack Arias. I'm a editorial commercial photographer out of Atlanta. This year I've done a job for IBM. I worked for Land Rover. Fuji took me to India, and I got to shoot with some of their new camera gear. And then I could tell you about a medium format camera that I bought, and some new lights, and I could get up here and get a skinny girl in a tight dress, and I could take a picture and go, that's how I do my thing, and with my big expensive camera and for my big expensive clients, and you all hate me because I'm an asshole, right? And Zach, okay, how'd you get that? Work hard, follow your heart, be passionate, just keep going there, Tiger, and it's just perseverance, and thank you, everyone, thank you, no, your story. That's not my story, all right? My story is not the clients I've shot for. My story is not, the camera gear that I own. My story is not the light I can make with a softbox. That's not my story. Here's my story. If I would have stood on this stage 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, I'd have said, hi, I'm Zack Arias. I'm a photographer. I work for a advertising, internet vertical of the Chicago Tribune, the New York Times, the Washington Post. Also do work for Knight Ridder and Gannett. And I shoot advertising material for different internet verticals that they have going on. And I travel all over the country. And kind of working with some new digital technology for that. And that sounds important, right? New York Times, Chicago Tribune, right? Okay, here's what was really happening. Is I worked for Knight Ridder, Gannett, New York Times, Washington Post. They owned Classified Ventures. Classified Ventures owned Apartments.com. And I was traveling around the country photographing apartment complexes. All right? Now, I could go up the food chain, and I was working for the New York Times. No, I wasn't. I was shooting apartments. I had the little Apartments.com polo, and I'd walk in. It was glamour shots of architecture, all right? So I'd walk in, and I'd meet the property manager, and I'd shoot the 2-bedroom, 1-bath model, and I'd shoot the exercise room and the clubhouse and the pool and the front entrance, and I'd have to get a really nice, and could I make the 2-bedroom apartment that's like no square feet look like the Taj Mahal? And no, I can't, but I'll do my best. And I had this piece of shit little camera I had dealt with, and I traveled around the country photographing apartments, all right? But I was embarrassed by that. I was sort of ashamed of that. You know, that was kind of a sign of, hey, your photo career, Zach, isn't really where you want it to be yet, is it? Because I wanted to be Mark Seliger. I wanted cover of Rolling Stone. I wanted to walk into a studio with big lights and pretty people and take awesome pictures. And I wanted you to think I was doing something more important. I wanted to think I was doing something more important. I had a big attitude of fake it till you make it, all right? Now, there's a certain part of I still fake it till I make it, and that's you know, like someone stands in front of me and I don't know how to light them, and I just have to I figure it out on the fly. But I was projecting a 10-foot tall image of myself as I went out into the world and I started to interact with people. I was taking my story and I was embellishing it. And I wanted you all to think that I was actually doing something important when I really wasn't. I was taking pictures of toilets, you know, and empty pools going, can you fill our pool with water? How about you fill your damn pool with water? And then I can take a picture of it, like with water in it, you know? But there's a 2-foot crack in the bottom of it, so I'm kind of thinking there'll never be water in that pool. That was my life. So I was living in Dallas, Texas at the time. I'm shooting Apartments.com. I have a young family. I was married, a 3-year-old boy, my son Caleb. And I was still trying to be a real photographer. And I was buying equipment, and I was, you know, if I'm going to be a professional, I need professional equipment. So I had this camera, and I'd have this light, and I'd bought all this stuff. Well, I wasn't making enough money with photography. So I was going heavily into debt, all right? Now, I'd tell you, oh, dude, yeah, I just got that new Sekonic blah, blah, blah meter, and check out my new, you know, Chimera softbox that I got, and I'm going in debt, and my wife is yelling at me, and we're in financial ruin. Now, I left that part out, right? So I'm going in debt, doing this, doing that, and the end of 2000, beginning of 2001, my whole entire personal life collapses. My wife walks out on me, I become a single father. Overnight, I have to move back to Atlanta, Georgia, where I was raised. And my son and I move into my brother's basement with his wife and 3 kids. And my whole life had just destroyed, just gone. I had no idea. I figured I needed maybe a few months to let the dust settle, figure out what just happened to me, get the wind back in my cells, and get back out in the world with a camera. Those 2 months turned into 2 years. And over the course of the 2 years, all that equipment that I still owed money on, this lens would go to fix the car. This camera would go to pay some rent. This, you know, light would go to put an alternator or something in, a set of tires. And after 2 years, I'm working at Kinko's, and I have no photography equipment left. I still had all that debt hanging over my head. I was avoiding credit card companies left and right. And I was just trying to survive. And there's a quote I've heard about photography many times of, photography calls many but chooses few. And I thought, you know, all right, photography called me, but it didn't choose me. And the only pictures I was taking at that point were passport photos, because I worked at Kinko's. And it was this Polaroid camera, and it was basically a medium format back on the back. I could field strip that thing, you know, blindfolded in 90 seconds and clean the rollers. But I'd often act dumb, like, oh, I don't know how to run that. I can't do that. Or someone would say, hi, I need a passport photo. I'm sorry, the camera's broken. And it was really like, you, because you're going somewhere. Like, you're getting on an airplane, and yeah, we're going to Italy. Really? Oh. You know, I'd love to take your passport photo, but it's broken. You'll have to go to the post office down the street. I couldn't touch a camera. It hurt so bad because my identity was wrapped up in trying to become a photographer. But I'd put these lies out there, these embellishments, and, you know, where's the New York Times Zack Arias photographer guy, you know, like Kinko's. So in end of 2003, around the beginning of 2004, a dear friend of mine, Mark Climby, had been shooting weddings in Atlanta. And he's getting really busy, and he calls me up one day and he said, Zach, I'm really busy. I need a second photographer at weddings. Would you come shoot weddings with me? And remember, I wanted to be Mark Seliger, right? We all kind of want to be Mark Seliger. Is Mark Seliger in the room? There's only one guy named Mark Seliger, and he's not here. I wanted to be that. I didn't want to shoot weddings. Family portraits, maternity, oh my God, really? I want to do real photography. The apartment guy saying this, right? Mark buys me a Nikon D100. He sets me loose at a wedding on a Friday. And I swear, it felt as though I'd been underwater for almost 2 years, and someone grabbed me by the collar, lifted me up, and allowed me to breathe again. There was a camera in my hands again. I'm a photographer because it's all I know how to do. If you take photography away from me today, I'm at Kinko's. I'm at an $8 an hour warehouse job. I don't know what the hell to do with my life other than take pictures. That's why I shoot. You know, it's what I do, and it's it. And Mark reaches down, picks me up out of the curb, sets me loose at a wedding, and I was absolutely in love with photography again. And that was a Friday, and I put my notice in on Monday. I'm going back to photography. I had no lens, I had an old 285 flash, I had no memory card, I had a camera body and a flash. And Mark, you know, thought I was crazy. Everyone thought I was crazy. But I started again. And what I had decided to do were two things. Number one, I was not going to buy equipment on credit card ever again. If I could not lay the cash out for it and still have my rent paid, then I was not buying that piece of equipment, period. So no more debt. And number two, more importantly, is that if I meet a photographer, or if I'm here, or if I'm sitting down with a prospective client, and they say, Zach, what do you do? I'm just going to be dead damn honest with it. No more embellishment, no more projections, no more veneer, because that did not go well for me. Because I'd be sitting, yeah, I work for the New York Times, and in my head, I'm a fucking liar. I'm just what a hack. It's bad enough I'm standing on the stage feeling like a hack as it is, right? We have David Burnett up here, we have Barbara Davidson up here, we have Peter Yang up here, and then it's, hey, Zack Arias. What do you shoot? Nothing. Well, I recently photographed this musician you'll never hear of. For this magazine that you'll never see. Yeah, so I did a job recently for a magazine, and my old studio manager, Dan, he was saying, I don't know, Zach, about this one. It's like, you know, maybe it's going in X magazine. Don't worry, no one will ever see it. Just keep going. It's like, you're such an asshole, Dan. But I'm going to be honest. So here I am. These are my struggles, and this is what I'm doing. If I'm photographing a toilet today, and you say, hey, Zach, what are you doing? See that toilet? I'm taking pictures of it. And you know what? I'm really, really, genuinely grateful that today I get to take a picture of a toilet. I'm happy about it. You know, so I shoot toilets, I shoot no-name bands, and, you know, and I'm just trying to make it, and I'm just hacking at the weeds, and a lot of days I walk onto a shoot, and I just don't know what I'm going to do, and I just have to figure it out on the fly, and my gear is held together with duct tape and the Holy Spirit, and, you know, I'm just out here kiting a hurricane. I don't know. Some days I don't know what I'm doing, and a lot of times I am comparing myself to other photographers, and then I feel even worse, and I want to hang the cameras up and go back to Kinko's, and because I suck and I'm no good and I'll never be that good, and these are the struggles I live with. And so I started to tell my story. This is my story. I've screwed up. I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm trying to work really hard. I'm trying to be tenacious, and I'm trying to stick with it, and I'm trying to take any opportunity that will come my way and make the very most of it. And that's what I'm doing. And then I'll be like, what are you doing? Oh, well crap. I'm trying to take it day to day, and I'm looking for every opportunity I can get. And I'm like, well, hell, we're in the same boat, aren't we? You're shooting newspaper photos for $15. You had to be at Applebee's in the Bronx the other night and taking pictures of people at their table, come on up on stage and tell us what it's like to be, shooting at Applebee's, right? No, well, I was recently at a large food chain restaurant and doing advertising. No, So as I start to share my story, people start to share their story with me. All right? So here comes the light. That's the cue. So my story feeds more into this. This is how I want to look at social media. I don't want to look at it like this cancerous attack of followers and likes and fan pages and numbers and stats and graphs. It's organic. Remember that it is social media. All right? Social media. Social media is you sit down, you interact, you talk to people, you find out their name, you find out what they're about, you get to share your story, you hear their story. You're talking to each other, right? I see photographers who, have a whole bunch of followers and stuff, and you look at their timeline, and they never reply to anyone. They don't ever interact. It's all going in one direction, but it never comes back out. I'm like, well, you're probably not interesting. I'm not going to follow you. I want to interact with people. Social media, all right? And if you could look at it as this organic process that takes time, right? How long would it take for that kind of tree to grow? It takes time. You have to be patient, Now you can go give away a camera once a month, and everyone follow me, and you have to follow me to win, and do all of this, and you can grow this, thing pretty big and have 100,000 followers, but your root system is going to be very shallow. I'd rather have a community of people that I interact with that goes deep. I'd rather go deep with people, all right? I don't want to, give shit away and you have to follow me, because what are you doing? You're just following me to get shit, right? If I sat in a bar and I was sitting at an empty table and I'm like, hey, if you'll come have a beer with me, you might get an iPad, all right? If y'all just come sit at my table, I might give one of you an iPad, okay? Can you come over and sit with me? You desperate little weird guy, no, I'm going to be over here drinking by myself, because I have a 5D Mark III to give away. Everyone come and talk to me. I have a 5D Mark III. Follow me, follow me, follow. It sucks, all right? Now, if you look at it like a tree, this root system, the trunk and all the limbs, there is equal room for somewhere your personal life and your professional life. You can have kind of a branch of who you are as a person. You're going to have a branch of who you are as your profession, all right? There were times I've tried to split my brand and be something over here and something over here and have a personal Twitter feed, then a professional Twitter feed, and it's social media. When I walk into a bar, I don't suddenly split in two and become two, there's enough material here to make two of me, and I'm going to go get personal with these people and professional with these people. And so the professional me will be over there and personal me will be over here. Now, when I walk into a bar, I walk into a setting, it's me. If you ask me about my cameras and stuff like that, and we'll talk about cameras, but I'm probably going to talk about my kids, and I'm going to talk about my wife, and and it's all a big mix, right? What we do because my profession is who I am. And who I am pushes my profession. So it can all be one element. It can all be one thing. And you're growing this community, all right? It's not followers. It's not fans. We're not effing Bono. We're not curing cancer with our camera, all right? We have all seen those photographers. Hey, I'm Johnny Photographer, and I'm doing really important work, and blah, 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 blah. Let me, hold on, let me get off the helicopter. And anyways, so, you know, I was just in Antarctica, and Madonna was there. We were doing a humanitarian campaign. It was fun. No, you're an asshole, okay? Like we're taking pictures. What I love about getting to be like on this side of the stage is I get to meet, you know, Barbara and Peter and Michael and David and all these people who've been presenting so far, and I put them on a pedestal like, oh my God, you know, there's Peter Yang, holy shit. Oh. But he's just a dude. He's a great guy. There's no pretense, and I love that. And so we can look up to people and immediately put them on a pedestal that they really don't belong on. But what we don't want is for that person to be putting themselves on a pedestal, right? So this is an organic process, and you feed it with your story. Feed your community with your story, all right? So what you need to push up the trunk is signal. Right now in the world, we have a lot of noise. Noise, 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 noise. Hey, I got the top 10 lists for your photography career to help you get started. You follow these 10 steps, these 3 things. Here's, you know, the 2 ways to use a softbox. But it's kind of, you know, half-assed answers, and it's all leading to buy my ebook, buy my DVD. There's one that I hate right now, like every Friday we give away a free photography business tip. It is free. Just sign up for our newsletter. Well, if it's just stick it on your damn blog, why do I have to sign up for your stupid newsletter, you know? Like, okay, there's a barrier of entry to your free, and then, oh, and then I get it, and oh, what is it? Oh, it's just advertisements. We're going to give you this little nothing. We're going to take the skin off of a grape, let you taste it, and say, but for $19.95, you can have a whole meal, right? It's noise, 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 noise. Add signal to this world. I'm running an experiment right now of trying to build something that is pure signal. It's basically because I got pissed off at a top 10 list. I got really pissed off at this top 10 list, and I'm competitive. I am, and I get angry and mad and competitive, and I'm calling people out on Twitter, and instead of like just doing a Twitter war and going away, if I'm going to start a Twitter war, then I'm going to like build something out of it. I'm going to go shoot pictures because of it, or I'm going to build something. And I started a Q&A blog. Ask me anything you want about photography, anything. I am not like the grand poobah on the top of the mountain. That's Joe McNally. But anything I can do to help you, I'll do it. It's free. There's no banners. There's no affiliate links. All right, when I link to something on B&H or Amazon, there's no affiliate number on it. I'm not making a fucking penny on it. And you know, you're going to build this top 10 list. I'm going to build 100. No. I'm going to build 1,000. I'm going to bury you with information. I want to build signal, 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 signal. Pure signal, no noise, all signal. And I started this Tumblr page from 0, and you know, I don't analytics my life and go chart everything every day, but I checked in last night, and yesterday I had 26,000 page views on my Tumblr site that's been up for like 2 months. And to me, that's just saying if you build signal, you can build community. Signal, your story, signal, all right? So, we can look at it like this, and again, it just, you know, it just feels weird to me. It's because we're putting individual people at the center. We're photographers, you know, we take pictures, we chase light, we're, you know, I tell people all the time, like, you know, your name has to start with A if you really want to be famous, because it's Ansel and Annie, right? go out into the world and say, name me some famous photographers. It's going to be Ansel Adams and Annie Leibovitz, you know, and okay, keep going. Right? Anyone outside of our industry, they're just, you know, Thomas Kincaid? No, he was a painter, all right? So instead of this us versus them, you know, I want to think of it more as a community, that there are several of us out there feeding these trunks with story, feeding them with signal. We are here to help. We are here to be of service. I don't see myself as in the creative industry. I see myself as I'm in a service industry. My client walks in the door. I'm there to serve them. I serve them with my camera. I serve them with doing the very best job I can. If I teach a workshop, and then the people in that workshop are my clients, and I'm there to serve. If I'm standing up here on the stage today, I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. I'm here to do what I can, right? And if we can look at it like this, then it isn't so egocentric. It isn't so me, 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 me. And it's not so narcissistic. And it's not, you know, oh, I lost a branch yesterday. Well, that's kind of normal, you know. People are going to come, people will go, people fall off. I unfollow people all the time, and it's not necessarily because I don't like them or whatever. I have to kind of take, you know, some of the noise out of my life. And that's kind of my last point on social media, is that as great as it is and as helpful as it is, it can be a lot of noise in your life. And what I do every single year, right around December 1st, is I say, adios, everyone, I'll see you next year. And I delete all social media apps off of my phone. I'll have my wife go in and change my passwords to Facebook and Twitter and all the rest, so I can't log in. And I just freaking leave. So if you follow me on Empire Avenue, then right after Thanksgiving, you might want to sell, all right? There's not many people on Empire Avenue, is there? Okay, so get away from it. Pull back from it, because it can be noise, 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 noise. And I've found it's so great. And in fact, what happens come January, I don't want to go back to it. It's actually kind of nice that it's out. But social media is good for my business, and it's my water cooler. It's where, you know, we're lone shooters just doing our thing, and it's the water cooler of our job. And I eventually get sucked back into it, and then it's, you know, party time for the next 11 months, and then I'm out again. All right? So that is me, and I am done.
Zack, thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I think I liked all of it except the part about the free guides. We do a lot of that.
Right. Yeah, but you guys,
we actually invest a lot into that.
Yes.
So you've done a great job of actually getting us back on time. I was not about to interrupt your story. That was fantastic. So I have a few questions that came in through Twitter. One is, how do you decide where to spend your time in social media? You have your Tumblr, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, Twitter.
For me, where I spend my time is what I just will naturally enjoy. Like right now, Facebook, when I log into Facebook, I feel like a cranky old 80-year-old. You know, like, oh, this Facebook, look at it. I can't understand. Where's the button? Where'd it go? They've moved it again. Oh, my God. You remember when old Facebook and it was just one thing? And I feel like this cranky old fart. My wife will be like, you sound like an old man. And I'm this close to just Facebook account, delete. Mm-hmm. Because for me, personally, Facebook, I log in and it just gets overwhelming and I just close it down. Twitter, Instagram. I love Twitter. I love Instagram. It's short. It's quick, I can go back and forth, and Instagram is nice and visual, and it's, you know, inspiring, and so I kind of just stick with what I like. If you love Facebook, then, man, hang out on Facebook, you know? If you enjoy Google Plus more, hang out over there. Like, and my Twitter feeds my Facebook, and it's just basically Facebook is this Twitter dump, and then some people started calling me out going, hey, you never interact over here on Facebook, like, I'm feeding crap into Facebook, but I'm never there to like follow discussions or anything that's happening. It's the redheaded stepchild. And so, you know, I have to go over to say, hey guys, I'm sorry. But if I'm not going to be there, why should I have it? Kind of a thing. Yeah.
And then I know that you're very active on Instagram. Can you speak a little bit about sharing photos through social media? I know there's a lot of people who are still very afraid with good reason about terms and conditions and losing their photos.
Right.
Especially now that Facebook has you can download the original from Facebook. So
yeah.
Can you speak about that a little bit in your philosophy?
If you're putting anything on the net, it's going to get taken. It just is. I mean, it's like, and sometimes I think of it like, well, if I put my bait in the water, something might eat it. Yeah, something might eat your bait, but you might get the hook in the mouth and get a bigger fish, right? So for me, when I share my photography and I'm putting my photography in the world, and you can take whatever steps you want to keep people from stealing it and taking it, but my photography is going onto the internet as hooks in the water. If I don't have that stuff out there, if I'm not pushing out my vision and my photography and what I'm trying to do with my life, then there's no one going to be biting those hooks. And if I'm like, don't eat the bait off of my hook, unless you're ready to bite and feed me.
Yeah, who does that benefit?
Right. Now, Time Magazine runs one of my pictures. They yank off Instagram, runs a cover, and doesn't give me credit, and I don't get a check. And then, well, that's kind of high profile at that point. But that's not happening every week. There's little instances, but my shit shows up on people's blogs, and I've had things show up on commerce websites for boutique clothing stores in France. And I send an email in English, and I think they write back in French, F off. Because I know I'm not going to get a lawyer to go across international boundaries after some little boutique in France somewhere.
So you pick your battles.
You pick your battles. Yeah.
And
I lose no sleep.
And you do, however, you can directly relate new business that you've gotten through social media.
Yes, I can directly relate to it. I mean, I don't get a check quarterly from Twitter, and you never will, right? You don't get a trophy. It's not this thing to get. But I did a job for Land Rover this year. And the agency, working with Land Rover USA, went to Wonderful Machine, and they said, we're looking for photographers who have a social media reach. And so my name got put in the hat, and I got pulled for that because they were looking for photographers who could shoot the job and do a good job, but they were also wanting people that, as we're working on the job, we're Instagramming it, we're tweeting it, and it was a very interesting, are you here for my brain or my looks, kind of a thing. I hope it's both, I could be a crap photographer, but I have 50,000 people. Well, let's just take the 50,000, right. Right? Shoot your crap pictures. We just need you to tweet.
Hurry up and tweet.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I've gotten that off of there. I do have an education part of my business, and that's been helpful. But I don't try to push my education out via social media very much. It's going back to bait. I feel like I'm trying to sell bait to fishermen. I'd rather stand next to you on the dock fishing than be down here saying, hey, come buy my crap, come buy my crap, that kind of thing.
Great. Well, everyone, Zack Arias, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.